Hey everyone. I think I'm live. I am trying out StreamYard for the first time. So, my name is Jen Larson, and today I want to share with you three things that you do not need if you're looking to homeschool. So, a little bit about me. I have two boys. One is 7, the other one's 3.5. Um, and really, my passion is just to empower moms to live their dreams while cherishing motherhood and being present for their families. That said, I do want to be clear that this is not a you need to homeschool your kids. Um, I have one of my children is actually in a classical Christian school, and we absolutely love it. I would recommend it to anyone. But my 3.5-year-old, I want to have those moments with him until he is able to go into a more formal structured school, if at that point we decide to do that versus keeping him home. So there are three things that when we looked at homeschool that were of concern to me that I want to share with you that you don't need them. So I'm going to flip over to the next slide here. I'm hoping that you all can see this. The first one is your child does not need to know how to sit still to be able to homeschool them. And this was a big one for me. Those boards that are in the picture here, we actually have one of those. We haven't used it for homeschooling yet, but we may. I have had experiences with my oldest son. So we homeschooled him. We did the preschool program, and we also did the junior kindergarten program before he started his classical education school, the formal school. And I will tell you, at one point we did some math and I could not get him to sit still. So finally I said, fine, you can run up and down the stairs while we do the math. And he was thrilled with the idea of that. So he ran up and down the stairs while we, recited some math problems or whatever, practiced counting, things like that. So my 3.5-year-old right now, when we homeschool, he's often climbing on my lap. It just is what it is, and we just go with it. Your kid does not need to sit still, which is a little bit different than traditional school where they need to sit in a desk. And it's more structured for sure in that aspect. So the second thing is you do not need a room that is dedicated specifically for school. That was another concern of mine when we were starting, was like, oh my gosh, we don't have enough rooms in this house. Where am I going to do it? I don't want to have to dedicate my dining room table to homeschooling. We don't. We have a bin right now that says preschool, and it has all of the books, which, by the way, we use those books all the time outside of homeschool just for reading and whatever when they're getting ready for bed. But we put them all in that bin, and if I pull out whatever I'm going to need for that day. But you don't need to do it in a dedicated room. One day last week, we did homeschool out on our back deck. And yesterday we homeschooled while we were waiting for his older brother to finish piano lessons. So we homeschooled in the hallway at the school that my oldest son is taking his piano lessons, and it worked out great. I mean, it doesn't need to be as structured as you might think. This last one I'm a little nervous about even sharing, so I'll get to it. But just know, number one, I have the utmost respect for teachers and what they do and the education that they need to be able to do it. You do not need a degree to teach your child. There is no teaching certificate or college degree that is required for homeschooling at this point in any state in the US. So you don't need to have that degree. That was a major concern of my husband's when we started talking about whether or not we would homeschool our kids. But it's not a requirement. And here's the thing. A lot of times those teachers are being educated so that they can teach a wide range of children, a specific subject. Unless you have a huge family, which, my brother's got 7 kids, so it might be different if my sister-in-law was looking to homeschool again. But with 2 kids or 1 kid, you don't need to know how to teach a large classroom of kids. And oftentimes they also had a lot of paperwork and different, rules and requirements and regulations that those teachers need to follow. And that education is helpful for that as well, among many other things. Again, I love the school that my kid's at. His teachers have been, I could tear up just thinking about it, that like exactly what God needed him to have as a teacher. So I will say that you are the best person to give your child what they need. And I think, this just as a parent, you know what your kid needs, when might not be a good time to homeschool. And that's another great option is if in the morning, my kid is bouncing off the walls, we might wait till later to homeschool. And that's a great thing about homeschooling. So you don't need a teaching degree to teach your child. And to wrap this up, I will just say that the most important work that you will ever do will be within the walls of your own home. I would love to hear in the comments if you would throw a me in there if you are homeschooling. If you're considering it, and you want to talk a little bit about it, just put more info, and I would love to reach out to you and just kind of talk a little bit about what we do and some of the other options out there. I have a lot of friends that homeschool. There's a lot of different communities that you can get involved in. But I really like this, number one, for the time that I'm getting to spend with my kids. We recently pulled our youngest out of daycare to bring him home for the summer, and we're not sending him back. He's just going to stay home with me. We're going to homeschool until he is ready for school. So anyhow, I appreciate you all being on. And if there's any questions, please reach out. Thanks so much.